Here we are.
It's your boy Vin in the house.
And Sori here.
We're doing something experimental. So, I'm supposedly live on two
Facebook pages?
Two YouTube pages.
Oh, two YouTube pages.
So it should be
okay.
the
well,
regular.
I'll know soon enough because I'm going to add the... You know what I mean? I'm going to add the thumbnail, and so we will know if we are live on two places at once.
Correct. So we'll wait for folk to show. Yeah. Okay. So Tom MacDonald.
Which big homie is this for?
This is for Randy.
Okay. Shout out to Randy.
Yes. Shout out to the big homie Randy.
He's always bringing you.
Yes. Look, we got two. We got two of them on there.
Yes.
Are we live? Yep. Okay. So we are broadcasting from two different thingamajiggies. Okay. Now, Middle Americans, don't you worry. We are here, and we're going right back to our regular recording schedule. But we took a little break for the end of summer, and we're coming back. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, politically speaking. But we figured, shout out to Delaney, we figured that we would do a Tom MacDonald song. The name of the song is called Brainwashed. Shout out to the big homie CEB Applejack. Okay.
All right, we are live, babe.
Let me change it. All right, so the background CB is for you. Okay. Where's my phone? I lost my phone.
I don't know.
I cried during your break. How come? What happened? We okay? Okay, guys, this is Tom MacDonald. The name of the song.
Brainwashed.
The name of the song is Brainwashed.
Okay.
Did you do it on both of them?
Yeah.
Excellent. You're the man. You're
No,
the
I don't wanna
man.
be the
Okay,
man.
guys. Tom MacDonald, Brainwashed. Let's go.
Half the country fell asleep, but they scream woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows. Politics, celebrity, gossip, popular, neat quotes. Black lives, white lives, which lives mean most? We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're a hero and you get a whole Pride Month. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. Only mask that's gonna save us is duct tape on their mouths. Don't speak. We don't need to defund police, need to defund the media who lies through their teeth like Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, cause every patient that gets cured is a customer lost. And big oil runs the world, the only wars that get fought are with the countries who have natural resources they want. Heard him claiming if a white man braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture. But if a white man acts too white, he's white trash, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. How did monkeys become people and people turned into sheep? They put fluoride in the water that's keeping us all asleep. Claim they want what's best for us, I find it hard to believe, cause they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. Fake news, fake woke, distract and divide. You're either right or you're left, or you're black or you're white. Big tech don't need a microchip to hack in your life, cause the phone inside your pocket is a tracking device. And I don't know what I'm more sick of, rappers or Joe Biden looking like he ate 100 Xanax for dinner. Cause censoring the president and kicking him off Twitter is a bigger threat to freedom than foreign ballistic missiles. You don't trust the police or the government, but you want people giving up their right to own a firearm. Why would you be comfortable if police and the government the only people on the planet with the right to buy a gun? White privilege getting amplified to reinforce division. It convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry cause they're told they're treated different. So the conflict is between us and never with the system. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight. Trying to brainwash us, but we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me.
Yeah, Emily, I agree.
That was Tom MacDonald, Brainwashed.
Okay. Well,
Tom MacDonald. A lot of these songs all have the same theme over and over again.
they really do.
People ask me what I think about Tom MacDonald. I think he's very smart, and I think he understands what his audience is, and he also understands that he's got a very short window. And he's doing a really good job at that. And as an entrepreneur, as a fellow internet entrepreneur, I tip my hat to the homie because he's got a good thing going there as far as being successful there. What'd you think of the song?
Well, I have a lot of. Okay, first of all, if we're gonna go with how it sounded. Obviously, like, it's the same sound that kind of repeats itself, but I'm totally good with songs that are like that, so I actually enjoyed that part of it, especially when he'd go into the Brainwashed part. I liked that part. Lyrically, I feel like it's so interesting because when you explained him, you said that you think he's very smart, and I was going to say I think he's a bit too simplistic, but maybe he's smart and simplistic on purpose.
And this is going to get taken the wrong way, but his target audience is not the most nuanced, group in America.
Right.
So
right.
He's smart because he understands. I think he could do, more complex stuff or different subject matter, but why would he? Mm-hmm. He released this thing a month ago. It's got 7 million views. I'd keep doing. I'd keep writing it. I'd keep doing the same thing if I was getting 7 million.
It depends on what your goal is. If your goal is success, but I'm a little confused because it seems to me that his goal is awareness, but he's not very aware on some.
I think his goal. I think his goal is to generate revenue for himself, and to build out his brand, which he's doing a very good job at. He had a trans person in one of his videos recently, and it's that girl. What's that girl's name? Remember that time we were watching that thing, and that girl wanted to go to this waxing place, Blair White, Blair something. Her name is.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom MacDonald had her in his video, and Ben Shapiro's crew was like, "Hey, we got to have standards, blah blah blah." Basically, we can't have trans people in our movement. Basically, is what they were saying on the Ben Shapiro show. So I'd be very very interested to see if he does that again. Because
because they don't like that.
He's very well aware about where the majority of his fans come from.
Why did he do that? Why did he do?
Well, I think he's trying to show that he's not.
Right?
Yeah, I look. He's become sort of the right wing Eminem, and I think. I mean, we know how it is. Like, you have a certain kind of persona that people think, but people are a lot more complex than that. So he said a bunch of snide comments about trans people. He always has all of his songs have something to say about trans people and Black Lives Matter, because he knows that his audience, they're attracted to mocking those marginalized people.
And you're talking about the right, his target audience. Was asking whose target audience.
Who is his target audience? His target audience are people who watch Fox News and Ben Shapiro 8 hours a week. Right. And I'm not putting any moral pronouncements on it, but it's clear and obvious to me that that's who he's writing music for. Mm-hmm. So it was just very interesting when he included Blair. The guys at Daily Wire had a problem with it because it shows you like, yeah, Tom, you might not have a real issue with LGBT people, but there's lots of folk on that side who do, and you just have to, you have to understand that about him. Like, so for me, I'm like, I knew he was going to mention BLM. I knew he was going to mention BLM is played out. Nobody's even, carrying that flag anymore. But he's still using it because he knows that the people that watch Fox News, like that's they get triggered by that shit.
Offended by that.
Yeah. So on the one hand, you're not going to find a lot of variance with what he's doing. But my thing is, why does he need to be variegated? Like he's making a bunch of money by saying the same thing over and over again. Why should he stop doing that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you're saying, if you're saying that his goal is just to make money, and he's underneath the flag of, bringing awareness, but that's not what he's doing. It's about making money. Well, then, okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. I thought that he was conveniently making money, but he was trying to bring awareness to what he saw as the problem.
Well, again, I don't think things are that simple. I don't think he sat back and said, okay, I'm going to create this whole persona or whatever. I think what happened was he was just saying what was on his mind, and then it got a massive reaction from, a certain contingent in the country. And he's Canadian. And so he just kept doing it over and over again. Mm-hmm. And that's what it metastasized. Rick says he's grifting. I don't know about if he's totally grifting. I just don't know how much of what he says all the time he actually truly believes. Because I don't think that he personally has an issue with trans people, but a lot of the people that listen to his music absolutely do.
Mm-hmm. Zombieholic, we didn't say that he was right wing. We said that his target audience was people that like 8 hours plus of Fox and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, me personally, I don't know what he believes. Mm-hmm. I know what he talks about and what he says, and like I said, they're all the same. I mean, listen to Fake Woke. It's literally the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
But so it is what it is. Okay.
Half the country fell asleep, but they screamed woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows. Okay, I just have to say that the vaccination question, I'm getting progressively more triggered by people talking about something that they don't know shit about and making commentary on stuff that they have never been to college, they have never been under training to learn anything about the medical field, but they're going to put something out there that is going to influence other people in their decisions. And I was watching that video where it was talking about the majority of people that are in hospitals because of COVID are people that are unvaccinated, and when they're dying, they're asking for the vaccine. And I think that, we've already lost enough people for me to say, fuck you if you're going to say something about a topic that you are not qualified to talk on that topic. And so when he said, unless I misunderstood what he was saying, we're distracted by vaccines and TV shows, what are you talking about? We should be distracted by a vaccine. And matter of fact, it shouldn't even be a distraction. It should be people going to get the vaccine to help protect
I was
other
confused.
people and yourself.
I was confused by that line. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't really understand the point of that line. What do you mean we're distracted by vaccines? Like
politics, celebrities, gossip.
Distracted? Like the vaccines are...
Yeah, what is it that we're supposed to be focused on? I actually didn't find that.
We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows, politics, celebrity gossip, popular neat quotes, Black Lives, White Lives, which lies mean the most. I don't know what he means by popular neat quotes. Maybe he's talking about, the memery that happens on Facebook or whatever, it's easy to get distracted. And so then there's old Toby.
Well,
but Toby, this mentality and this question makes no sense to me. If you got the vaccine, why are you worried about me getting it? Well, one, no vaccine is 100% guaranteed to be effective. Two, old Toby, you're old Toby, but I'm young Vinny. And if I got COVID, I think I'd be okay. I feel like I'm at a place health-wise where I would be okay. But Toby, what I'm concerned about is the 75-year-old grandmother that you could infect with COVID who is not in peak physical condition. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about you killing her.
Right.
I'm not worried about myself.
You know, we have a lot of people on our channels that are not very healthy, because when you suffer with depression, a lot of times your go-to is to eat or to just be on the couch watching shows. And, you know, I think that also worries me. It's like, well,
What?
a lot of people that listen to our channel and stuff are not people that are like hitting the gym and at the peak. You know what I mean? Like, we're a crew that suffers with depression, and depression makes it so sometimes you overeat or you don't go out and get the exercise that you need and stuff like that. So we have a lot of people on our channel that we care deeply about, and we've already seen people die from it. And so that I find to be, I just, and the other thing too, like, yes, we're vaccinated, and other people that are not vaccinated, it's spreading this thing around. Like, if it's even possible that we can do something about it and get better, then why are we not? I don't know. The whole thing is just, yeah. I'm actually very frustrated with his song, to be honest. This is the first time that I've probably been really frustrated with Tom MacDonald, but yeah.
What's frustrating about it?
Well, because woke. We're distracted by vaccines, extremely important. Yeah, TV shows, we shouldn't be distracted by that. Politics, we should be distracted by politics. Politics should be letting us know we're bombing the shit out of people all over the place. We should be caring about that. There should be discussion about this. And then celebrity, gossip, I don't really care about those things either. I agree that those are just massive distractions, and why we care about what one or two people are doing over there. I don't see the relevance, but whatever. But the popular neat quotes to me was talking about, like, the phrase, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. Like, these little quotes that we come up with, and we try to put all this punch behind them and stuff like that. And then he says Black Lives Matter.
Hold on, people saying they can't hear. Stand by.
How many people said they couldn't hear?
I don't know. Try it again. Say something.
Hello?
Yeah, we're good.
I was muted?
I don't know. Go ahead. Keep going.
So then he says, so that to me was like, I don't feel like that he understands, or maybe he intentionally doesn't understand. We're not trying to figure out which lives mean most. Like, how ignorant. That's not at all what we're trying to figure out. What we're saying is that we have a massive, massive racist problem in our country, and it needs to be dealt with. Further down, though, he did say something about dealing with the... I can't... Okay, right here. Okay, it convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry because they're told they're treated different. They're not angry because they're told they're treated different. Again, what are you talking about, Tom?
See, this is
like,
the
people
thing
are
about
dead.
This is
like, what are you talking about?
This is the thing about
it's
certain white
completely
people.
Offensive.
This is something about certain white people that is hilarious to me. And you know, you'll see it in the comment section, especially if you look on the Vin and Sori side. You always get these, and it's so funny to me because these are the same demographics that 3 or 4 years ago was calling everybody snowflakes. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a snowflake. Everybody's too sensitive. Mm-hmm. And then when the arrow got turned on them for the last 2 years, we saw what happened. They can't handle it. They went crazy on the Gillette commercial, whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, we've been having negative imagery about us our entire existence here, and we were told to get over it. So this is the thing about Tom MacDonald. And again, I don't know how much of this he really believes. But there is a big contingent of white people that really believe that black people are angry just because we're told to be angry. They completely invalidate your experience. You'll say, no, I've experienced this. They'll invalidate it.
Oh, I know. They did that to our kids just the other day.
Yeah, they'll just invalidate it, and then they'll say, no, you're just saying that because it's what you see in the media. So then you say, no, this is what happened to me. No. It's just me. And this is the thing that's why I'm saying, like, he's a really smart dude, and it's very hard for me to believe that he processes information that way. Mm-hmm. I think he understands the mentality of people who will support him, but I have a very hard time believing that he really believes that. I have a hard time believing that he thinks that the reason black people are upset is because we're told to be upset.
Yeah, maybe
it's
you're right.
not because of Rodney King, Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell. All these are names that none of you know about, that we all know about, because these are people that get massacred by police with no law enforcement. And so, like, it's amazing to me that the people that were strutting around calling everybody snowflakes in the last 2 or 3 years are not able to deal when they're getting a slight taste of their own medicine. They crumble immediately. They get angry. They lash out.
And
they do all types of crazy shit.
it's not even their own medicine. What we're talking about is people upset that they have to wear a mask over their face, or that there might be a vaccine mandate. We're not talking about your 14-year-old kid was sitting in a park and the cops fucking drove up and shot him dead. We're not talking about that. And it's not even the same. That's what's so frustrating, is it's not even the same. It's not even close to the same. And then they say, well, you know what? People should protest peacefully. You didn't protest peacefully when it came to wearing a mask over your face. And you can just Google it. Just go look on YouTube. All the times people are melting down in the stores because they have to wear a mask. And I don't even understand that. Like, I understand the mask is not going to be... I don't like having anything over my face either. I'm not a fan of it. But if there's a small, teeny tiny percentage that it might help somebody or save somebody else's life, like, how selfish can you be that you would say, well, I can't breathe so good underneath it, so I'm going to make a big thing of it, or my freedoms are being stomped on.
And then look, here's Matthew Morey. You ever watch the channel about how the dangers of victimhood and how it leads to genocide? This is another game that these people play. So if you say a wrong is done to me and is continuing to be done to me, and I need justice, now you're saying now they say, oh, you're just being a victim.
Come on.
Oh no, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm just an intelligent person that knows what my rights are.
Yeah.
And I demand that I'm going to have equal rights.
Right.
And I don't give a fuck about you or anybody else that wants to say, oh, you're playing victim. I don't play victims. I make them. I don't play them though.
But even
the point of the matter is that this is yet another, whenever MacDonald talks about race, like I said, I don't know much about what he actually believes, and I don't think anybody can. Mm-hmm. Because anytime you have a monetary benefit for putting forth a certain type of view, then you have to call into question the sincerity of the person. You just have to.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah. I don't know, if he's that ridiculous and clueless when it comes to race in America. Mm-hmm. He was born, he's a Canadian, so he doesn't understand all the, the exigencies of what happens here. Although there is a Native American population in Canada that's been treated very horribly. But there's this kind of thing like where
you don't have to live here to know what's going on.
You'll get some very well-meaning, and they'll say things like, let's just move on. I'd love to move on. When there isn't a 20% variance between sentencing for similarly situated crime between black and white people, I'd love to move on until there's some sort of way to make right the theft of labor and the destruction of places like Black Wall Street and things of that nature. This ridiculous idea. He says that white people are being told that they get preferential treatment because of their skin. Tom, white people in America are the majority. And go to any sociologist. Anytime you're part of the majority population, you already have an advantage over the minority population. That's why Pat Buchanan 20 years ago was sounding the alarm, telling white people, holy shit, these brown people are gonna out baby us. It's unbelievable stuff.
Also, I would agree with you that perpetual victimhood is not good. That's why white people should stop saying we're being told we're bad just because we're white. You're right, and it is leading to a lot of deaths and a lot of bad behavior.
Yeah,
you're not the victim. There are victims in this situation. Just look at the news, look at the numbers, look at the stats. That will tell you all you need to know.
Yeah. Can you imagine an alternate universe in which Muslims after 9/11 took over America?
Okay.
And then 30 years from now, you get the Muslims saying, come on, guys. Get over the 9/11. Just get over it. Get over 9/11. Get over it. Yeah, I mean, bad stuff happened, but it is what it is.
Stop making yourselves the victim.
Stop making yourself a victim. Just live under Sharia and live as a dhimmi, DHIMMI. Go Google what a dhimmi is. Go just live as, and just stop complaining. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like,
sure. I
this
do
is-
exactly. That's exactly true.
It's just kind of like I. That's why I have a very hard time believing that he really believes what he's saying. I don't believe that he believes what he's, because I think he's very, very intelligent. And I think he's a very good reader of human nature, and I think he knows that his window's very short, so he's pumping out the same music all the time, and you got to respect the hell out of him for that.
I think that I would be inclined to agree with you, and this is my reason. When we first did a Tom MacDonald review on one of his songs, and we said in there, we've said it, I think, in 2 of the different videos, like, we would love to interview you. And I thought for sure, like, if he was actually somebody that was trying to be, like, open-minded and actually wanted to know the facts, then, I mean, let's face it, how many black reactors are there? Most of them are white. So, and we broke down the song with a lot of detail. So if you were going to do an interview with a reaction channel, ours would be the channel to go to.
Well,
and he didn't want it. He didn't say, yeah, hey, you can you know what I'm saying? Like,
Who are you talking about?
Tom MacDonald. I'm saying if he's actually trying to be honest with the information and with the facts, then I think that a conversation would be had. And because he didn't do that, I'm like, because you know how people are always trying to get their information out there and they're willing to do interviews and stuff like that. Like, I just think that.
Yeah, I don't know if his refusal to do an interview. First of all, I don't even know if he saw the message. I don't know. Yeah, again, for me, I just think that I think he's read his audience very well, and that's all that is.
No, I'm saying
he's got an interview with No Life Shack.
Who's for what?
He's got an interview with No Life Shack.
Yeah, but did No Life Shack disagree with him?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that Tom MacDonald is trying to get a message out. I don't think he's trying to change the world. I think he's trying to get rich.
I agree with you. That's why I'm saying
he doesn't need to
him
defend
not
us.
doing that. Okay, I'm saying when I first heard his stuff, I thought he was trying to get a message out. But then when
but people who hold to this perspective don't do very well in public discourse anyway.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, there's one guy I've been chasing and like, let's have a debate. Let's talk about these issues if they're so simple, and they're never going to do it. So they're not the type of people that can defend that kind of position. It just doesn't look like that to me. We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out of the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're also a hero, and you get a whole Pride Month, which is again the unnecessary slight at LGBT people. Of course, what's not mentioned is the fact that what about all the LGBT people who have died, particularly trans people who have died because of the way that we've treated them.
Yeah.
And I understand
the fear that they've lived in.
Right. And by the way, I understand, like, for example, the bathroom stuff, the sports stuff. I don't think that everybody who disagrees with that is transphobic or whatever. I mean, I don't want Fallon Fox fighting any girls. I don't say what you want. I don't care. I've been in fight game. I've been in hurt games all my life, and there is absolutely a difference. And I will never. You know, you're gonna have to convince me a million times over. But so I want to bring some nuance to the LGBT discussion, but it just looks to me like that he said, and you know, Emily's right. It's just another Reddit line, and it just sounds like he said it over and over again. Oh, here's the obligatory trans diss. You know what I'm saying? And it almost, that one in this particular song bothered me more than the race stuff, just because he used Blair White in the video, and then he sees the feedback, so then he comes out with this video and disses on him.
I agree. That makes me sick in my stomach as well.
That's a little bit sad.
Yeah. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. Only masks they're gonna save it. Okay, there was something. Oh, so Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, because every patient that gets cured is a customer lost.
Well, I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah, but when he puts stuff like that, that's why I thought at the beginning that he was actually trying to. Like, I always saw myself as someone who was speaking the truth as honestly or as close to the truth as I possibly could, but I also didn't understand a lot of the stuff that was going as far as race happens, and so I thought that he was an honest actor at first, but now that I'm looking more at this stuff, I'm like, wow, if you put out the first song, I'm sure you got feedback. You put out the second one, I'm sure you got more feedback. Like, he's put out enough stuff where he's gotten enough feedback where he should be more accurate with what's actually going on. And the fact that he doesn't know what's going on and he's still saying outlandish stuff like some of this makes me say that he's actually not, he's not out to be open-minded and actually learn. He probably has another agenda.
Well, when did he ever present himself as somebody who wants to learn?
When he, like, okay, what was his first...
The song is called Brainwashed. He's saying everybody else is brainwashed except for him and people who follow him.
I know.
So he's not...
No, but when I first heard his songs, I thought that's what he was doing.
You projected that onto him, but that's not his goal.
Yeah.
So you can't hold him to that standard. It's not his goal. He wants to make money, and he's making money. So
yeah.
Why? Like, I don't have a problem with what he's doing.
Because he wasn't dead wrong the entire song. He'll say stuff like that, Big Pharma doesn't cure you, blah, blah, blah. And so when I saw stuff like that, I thought, okay, he's trying to be open-minded and actually recognize what's going on in the world around him. That's excellent. And then I thought, because I was racist, you know, I still have stuff, I'm sure, that I don't even realize. It's just embedded in me that has to get, you know what I'm saying? Like... So I'm just looking at it like, okay, if he put out this song, well, maybe he's unaware of certain things, and that he's going to get more woke on those topics or whatever. But, I mean, there's been too many songs for me to think that anymore.
Yeah. Listen, Randy, I have no problem with interviewing Tom MacDonald.
Absolutely. Set up an interview with him.
I doubt very highly that he would do it, but I have no problem
interviewing. We've said it in multiple videos that we've shot of his that we're looking to interview him. So
I don't think he's going to do it because it's not in his interest business-wise to have a real discussion about these topics.
No.
Look, Randy, all these talking heads that say all this craziness, none of them want an actual discussion.
Right.
During the whole CRT controversy, I was begging for debate partners.
Right.
Like, this is not a movement that's based on rigorous... Like, for example, when he says the most dangerous pandemic is a propaganda from these clowns. That's a lie. I just read a stat. 1 out of every 500 Americans is somehow affected by COVID.
1 of every 5?
We're putting people in the ground over this shit. This is the thing that kills me. Oh, the propaganda is worse than COVID. No, it's not. People are dying. Holy shit. People are, you know, I've got a friend that's a traveling nurse. And so it's a morbid exercise, but I don't unfriend her because I feel like it's my responsibility to let her vent so that we could carry some of what she's dealing with. But this woman is talking about people FaceTiming their family members because they're about to die. They were talking about people, begging for the vaccine through strained breaths because now they want it. I mean, people are dying. This is not something to joke about. This is not something to spread information about. And this is something where we need to err on the side of caution. Mm-hmm. 625,000 people dead in the U.S. I'm not sure about the accuracy of that number. What I am sure, though, is that Amber's best friend died of COVID. I'm sure of that. And so I just have a hard time. Like, I'm cool with him making money. Like, I respect him for it. But I just have a very hard time with this whole, we're going to make light of COVID. We're going to say all types of crazy shit because we don't like mask mandates and all the rest of it. Nobody likes mask mandates. I shot a video yesterday in another forum where I said, you know what? We need people that are resisting the government and making it difficult and making it uncomfortable for the government to put in all these strictures because they're not going to give the power back. We saw the same thing with 9/11. Was there a real threat to America post 9/11? Absolutely. Was the reaction an overreach from the government and allowed them to consolidate more power with them over and against the citizenry? Absolutely. So the second time around, COVID is in. It's much more dangerous than Islamic terrorism. You're much more likely to die of COVID than in a suicide bomb, by the way. And now we've got a situation where the government is once again demanding powers, et cetera, that are beyond their scope and beyond the vision of the founding fathers. So you need an element that's going to, and same thing with Fauci, you need Rand Paul to say, hey, what the fuck were you doing with that gain of function research, bro?
Yeah.
Like, you need that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that everybody who's skeptical about masks and all the rest of it, everybody who's pushing back against Biden and all the rest of it, I'm not going to say that they're all crazy. because they're not all crazy. One of the things I've said, they're necessary, because if you don't, and if the government just has a free ride to just go ahead and do whatever they want, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think my issue is when people speak like ex cathedra, like they have some authority on the topic. You don't have any authority on it. You have not been to school. You have no training. You're not in the medical profession. Fucking you're making music. So how are you going to say anything about this? And I think that there's a lot of people that you scroll through Facebook, and they're all making these pronouncements of what a joke it is. Masks do nothing. Like what actual scientific research
That's what I don't
have
get.
you tested? What have you done that's giving you that information?
And we all have the vision of the doctor in the operating room with the gloves and the mask.
I know.
So
next time you go in for surgery, tell him to just get rid of that stuff. It's useless anyway. Oh, you don't want to do that? Why is that? Because you want the doctor to put you in the safest position possible for your surgery. So give that care and concern to the people around you.
Yeah, so I just think that this is an insensitive comment. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. I just think that it's insensitive. But I understand. I understand what he's trying to say, and like I said, you need elements like that in your society to keep the government in check.
Toby, when you're saying, what science do you have that shows a mask stops COVID? Okay, look, I don't have to be a scientist or a healthcare professional, although I did work in the medical field, and we did mask up when there were certain things that were droplets, like anything that can be spread by droplets in the air, sneezing, coughing. You had to put masks on and you had to wear stuff, and that protected you, which it did protect me from people that had MRSA and all kinds of other things. But secondly, when you have healthcare professionals that are saying we should mask up, then if we're not a professional, then we shouldn't go against that information. If they're telling us to do something crazy like drown ourselves, well, okay, fine. All they're asking you to do is to take a little cloth and put it over your face, because perhaps it will help save somebody's lives. For a teeny tiny little percentage of a chance that it might save somebody's life, why are people so fighting against it like it's
Delaney says, why do you think masks were made?
Well,
from the mouths of babes.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is, as we said, nobody has said the vaccine is 100% effective. Nobody has said the mask is 100% effective.
No, we just said...
Hey, guys, a condom is not 100% effective. But you know what? If your partner has HIV, I'm still going to advise you to wear a condom. I understand that it's not 100% effective, but your chances of surviving increase exponentially if you wear a condom than if you don't.
Right.
So this is the stuff that kills me. Or you'll have other people that don't understand the concept of comorbidity. Mm-hmm. So if you get AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. That means that this virus attacks your immune system, your white blood cells. And you get to a certain amount of white blood cells, and then you go from HIV to AIDS. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what happens is you can get done in by the common cold. A regular cold that would kill a regular person, you now die. Pneumonia, same thing. Bad flu, same thing. So how did you die? Well, technically you died from the flu. Mm-hmm. But you died from the flu because AIDS destroyed your immune system. That's called a comorbidity. Mm-hmm. So you still died of AIDS. Mm-hmm. So these people, it's a respiratory that attacks your respiratory system. And so they're, oh no, this person didn't die. They died of the flu. And you know what? There's so many stories about people. This is what so I would say that Tom MacDonald is a real provocateur if he would have brought up Herman Cain. Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing. Like Marilyn Manson said, hey, I don't discriminate. I offend everybody. Right?
Yeah. And
that's how you know, okay, this guy's a real provocateur. Same thing with Eminem. Mm-hmm. When M first came out, he came after everybody. Mm-hmm. This guy, it's monosyllabic. He's just hitting the same thing over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say, okay, he's playing to a certain audience. Mm-hmm. And this is another one, man. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
Well, I don't know if you remember.
Nobody has ever said that the vaccine is 100% effective. Nobody said the mask was. But it's analogous to a condom. And if you think that you could just go around and cavort with whoever you want because condoms aren't 100% guaranteed, therefore we should never wear condoms, go for it, man. Go for it.
The other thing is, back in the day, remember they didn't wash their hands with soap and water in the hospitals, and mad people were dying because of it. And then, but the Bible did say you're supposed to wash, and yet people were not following that, and so people were dying. And then they started introducing washing your hands more regularly, and lots of people were then people weren't dying as rapidly. But I'm sure there were people around that time that were like, as long as I wipe my hands, there's no blood on my hands, what does it matter? Because they didn't realize so there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. There's a lot that we don't know about COVID. And so all we have to do is do the best that we can, love people around you, and do what you can to keep yourself and other people protected. And the other thing is, the old Toby had said, he basically said, well, if you have the vaccine, what are you worried about me? Well, like we said before, we're concerned about people's lives. And so even if we think that it's an unintelligent move of yours to not get the vaccine and not to mask up, we still care about your life, and we want you to do the thing that's going to keep you the safest.
Yeah, I agree. Even the big pharma doesn't cure you. I mean, that's coming from an entirely interesting subculture as well. Heard him claiming if a white man braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture, but if a white man acts too white, he's white trash, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. This is the white victim thing, right? Like this is the irony of the thing. The people that had been constantly calling everybody snowflakes and mocking everybody, now because the zeitgeist has sort of turned on them, now they're doing this is the victim thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you mean if he acts too white?
Yeah.
I thought y'all didn't see color. What happened? Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb. See, that's why I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying. I think that's the real Tom MacDonald.
Oh.
A guy who's willing to have a conversation. Not every liberal is done. Not all Republicans are racist. See, I think that's the real him. But I think he is now trapped because he's been adopted by the Daily Wires and the Tucker Carlsons of the world. So his persona is set. Mm-hmm. So he can't go and have these that's the ultimate reason I don't believe that he and I are ever going to do an interview. Mm-hmm. He cannot do an interview with me. And not because I would beat him, but because he would agree too much with me and that would fuck up his brand. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these people, when you really whittle it down and really start getting with facts, you realize that a lot of them didn't have a lot of facts and were not informed, especially when it comes to the race thing. A lot of these people have no idea. They'll take what Tucker Carlson says and they'll believe it. And we've done it. We've showed a million times how Tucker Carlson has been completely deceptive. And I got one associate who looks at it and he'll just move on. He doesn't care. Mm-hmm. That kind of person, okay, forget it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're obviously not interested in truth. But there's a lot of other people who are. And you have to open up to the fact that maybe you're wrong. So I've got the numbers. I can do the debate or whatever. But there's still a opening, especially with something like COVID, for example, where there's so many moving parts. My thing about COVID is I don't understand why people are so committed to making these definitive statements about COVID. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, guys. Like, the best minds in the world are trying to deal with this shit, and they're making shit up as they go along because they don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So how do we know all this stuff? Then you got the Joe Rogan situation. I haven't really looked into it, but he got treated, I think, with ivermectin or whatever, and then CNN said that he was like wormed this or whatever, and it wasn't, and they lied. So the problem that happens is you got a lot of people. I think your average American, if they believed that COVID was as communicable as we do, and as deadly as we think it is, I think the average person, if they truly came to believe that, would social distance and do all the other stuff naturally. I really believe that. I think they truly don't believe. I think that they believe that this is exaggerated or some government control mechanism, and you cannot dismiss that in the sense that our government has lied to us so many times. So many times. So you can't blame people for saying, "Oh, really? I'm supposed to put this into my body? I'm supposed to trust you guys?"
Right.
When you guys can't even tell us the real way that this virus spread in the first place, and y'all know what I'm talking about, go see Jon Stewart. We did that Jon Stewart one where he got on the show and he was talking about the Wuhan coronavirus lab that was literally 2 miles away from the supposed wet shop where this, and it got taken down. So, and then of course all the tagging of your Facebook posts and all the rest of it, it does create a sort of, I don't think paranoia is the good word, but it definitely justifies a side-eye look at the government. Like, wait a second.
Absolutely.
And you get a guy like Fauci who will say, yeah, I lied to you guys about that. Mm-hmm. I just, yeah, you needed masks, but I told you not to get masks because I wanted the healthcare worker, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so these people are lying.
Yeah.
So these are the same people telling you to get the vaccine. So when our friends say, well, fuck you, I'm not trusting you. I'm not going to put that shit in my body, bro. And then 20 years from now, I grow a third arm or whatever it is. You can't say that that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you have to admit, here's something. You have to admit, we're vaxxed. You have to admit that if you took the vaccine, you took a risk and you took a leap of faith. You have to admit that because the people telling us to get the vaccines were the fucking government. Mm-hmm. Okay, who can't be honest about how the vaccine even started. So, if a person is skeptical of the vaccine,
and I took a generational risk because I plan on having more children in my body,
right?
And so for me, I'm still second guessing if I did the right thing for my future children. But I do think that I did the right thing for the people that I'm around, like to protect myself and other people from the. But that's and like we said before, like. The government takes our money by taxes and puts it toward funding things that we morally think are horrible. And so the government is going to do that to us, but then all of a sudden they're going to give us something for free. Obviously, that's sus. You know what I mean? Like, or not even just for free. Like some places they're going to give you $100 or some beer or some this and that if you get it. So all that stuff does make me like kind of be like.
You have to.
Little
you have, and that's why sometimes like the vax conversation is frustrating to me because people are acting like you're crazy for being on either side. Mm-hmm. Like people that are vaxxed are acting like people who are skeptical are crazy. Mm-hmm. No, they're not. Mm-hmm. And people who are vaxxed are also not crazy sheeple either. There are a lot of people who sat down and had some serious conversation and weighed options and made decisions. Yeah. So. I would love it if Tom could be the linchpin for having conversations, but he's literally never even said anything like, I wonder what those folks in Black Lives Matter are really saying. Because it's ridiculous. Nobody, like, I didn't do it this year, but, people put up during 9/11, all buildings matter. Rest in peace to my aunt. I don't know that died in 9/11. I had a lot of people that I love very dearly die as a result of 9/11. And people had to kill other people as a result of 9/11, which are scars that are never going to go away either. So, but man, when I saw somebody put all buildings matter on 9/11. I
saw that too.
And it just, this is the thing that kills me as a black person. This stuff is not hard to figure out. It's not hard to figure out. When we say never forget a 9/11 and you see a meme that has the two buildings, we know other countries matter. We know other buildings matter. Mm-hmm. We know that. Mm-hmm. When we say we're never going to forget, what we're saying is there was a particular evil done to us on this particular day. And we're never going to let that evil be unspoken for. So when people, I can't believe I explained this, but I'll explain it for the 9 millionth time. When people say Black Lives Matter, it's because they have the perception that in this country, black lives are valued less than white lives. Mm-hmm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can agree or disagree with that. But at minimum, can you be honest in your discussion about people that you disagree with instead of lying about them and saying that when we say BLM, that means that we don't believe that white people matter? Ridiculous. There was that Justine Diamond lady. Rest in peace to her. She was killed by a black police officer in Minnesota. And the governor, the white governor.
That white lady?
Yeah. It's a white lady killed by a black officer. So the white governor holds this press conference where she starts all the BS. Oh, we're doing an investigation. Black Lives Matter took over that rally and shouted her down and forced her to resign because of Justine Diamond. They went to war for her. So when I know stuff like that,
Right.
and Daniel Shaver, BLM also marched for Daniel Shaver, who's a white guy killed by police officers. So when I see things like that, and I say, oh, okay, that's what we're about. And then it's just this monolithic BLM are terrorists, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to recognize the fact that there was a bunch of BLM protesters saying don't destroy stuff and the Antifa stuff would break. We're not going to acknowledge, nope. It's all black people, okay. But then he says like we can have a conversation, but then he mischaracterizes the goals of BLM. And what people who say BLM mean, and he demonstrates zero curiosity. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, this is an exercise really in cognitive dissonance with him. Yep. He's got the right-wing persona that's making him all the money and the fame and the views, and then there's what I believe his real inclination is, yeah, let's have a discussion, let's have some curiosity, but now he's in a situation where he can't do that.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
It's impossible. Let's see. What else did he say here? The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors because we know we get along. We'll probably go against them. How did monkeys become people? How did monkeys turn into people? That's not what the theory of evolution states. It doesn't state that monkeys turn into people. But I see where he's going. But people turned into sheep. They put Florida in the water to keep us to fall. Okay. They're killing what they want's best for us. I find that's hard to believe because they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. I don't think the government's ever really said that they care about us. So I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. And then this whole concept of sheep. Like, I've noticed that anybody who disagrees with another person is a sheep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's really, really, really fascinating.
I think the other thing too is when it talks about, like, he says not all Republicans are racist, but I think that we have to be careful when we look at. So one thing that I learned being a Christian and being in a college and a churches and all that growing up. You can be in a thought process and think that your thought process is 100% the way everybody should be, and you don't realize the flaws of your own thinking. And then you have other people come in and question it, and when other people come in and question it, if you're open to hearing the criticism, you might learn something. And, you know, when I would hear a lot about how churches are full of, you know, hypocrites and stuff like that, I was like, why is everybody saying the same thing? And then years and years later, I figured out, well, they're saying it because that's actually an issue that we have. And I think that racism is the same thing. So obviously, I never saw myself as a racist. I mean, I would have saw myself as the complete opposite of a racist. However, from spending time around you and being able to see, like, what's actually going on in regards to racism in the world, I've been able to see, and I can say, like I said at the beginning of the stream, like, when you first met me, I was a racist. I didn't realize I wasn't like somebody that was going to join the KKK, but I definitely had, I don't know how you would explain that.
Well, in the same way that I had latent misogyny. It's not that I wanted to be a misogynist, but I'm in a misogynistic culture. So unless you actively fight against misogyny, you're going to be a misogynist in this country if you're a man.
Right.
You got women's bodies get, you know, I mean, good night. We can use, you're taught from, I'm not even gonna get into that. Tony says, Black Lives Matter so much, black babies are being killed more than any other, and gun violence is killing more blacks, but as long as it's not from a white cop, who cares? This is one of those things where if you don't listen to people, then you make mistakes like this. Tony, when if I were to roll up on you on camera and end your life, I would be in prison that night, and I would be indicted and tried the next week. The issue is that black people in this country have had to watch Rodney King get beaten within an inch of his life, no indictment. Amadou Diallo gets shot 19 times, no weapon, no indictment. Tamir Rice gets murdered in under 2 seconds, no indictment. We go on and on and on again. That is the problem. 2 or 3 years ago in my neighborhood, in the park, there was a black guy. He had a gun. The cops told him 10 times to put down the gun. He refused to put down the gun, so they lit him up. There was no protest.
Nope.
Not one. So the issue is, when Tamir Rice encountered a law enforcement officer, he was murdered. He was killed, and there was no penalty paid for that killing. That's the problem.
Tamir Rice was in the park, right?
Tamir Rice was in a park unarmed by himself. He was a kid. Now I showed you that video of that white dude with the gun, brazen in full broad daylight. Mm-hmm. And the cops were begging this guy, please don't make us shoot you. And this is a park full of kids and civilians. And somehow he made it out alive. White dude goes up and shoots up an abortion clinic. He makes it out alive. Am I making that up?
You know the other thing that's
Hold, just give me 1 second. Give me one example of a black guy who goes on a shooting rampage, kills a bunch of people, and ends out of that situation alive. I got 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who can't even make it home to his parents because he's in a park unarmed. But then you've got a guy who could shoot up an abortion clinic, and somehow he made it out of that altercation alive. And Tom or whoever else, unless you can start accounting for that and recognizing that, then we're not going to get anywhere. It is disingenuous to say that you want a conversation and then you say things to invalidate, and when you clearly don't know what you're talking about. It's obvious. Go ahead. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Well, with Tamir Rice, I mean, when you're looking at the situation, the cop, this shows more
Look
levels
at there's old
of
Toby.
racism.
There's Toby. Did he comply with the cop?
He didn't even get a chance to. The
number
cops rolled up and shot him.
Number one, this is not communist. This is not communist China or the Soviet Union. The
Right.
police work for us, actually.
Right.
Tamir Rice's parents paid the salary of the police officer.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, to Sori's point, he didn't get a
didn't give him a
chance.
chance.
They just killed him. See, Toby, you don't know what you're talking about. The fact that you don't even know who Tamir Rice is tells me everything I need to know.
And the other thing
Have a good day.
The reason that the cops showed up is because they got a call from another white person saying that the person in the park, the child in the park, had a weapon. They didn't verify that. They rolled up right there and shot the kid. They saw nothing, and they just want to me, that shows more layers of racism. The fact that the cops just did what another white person said because the white person said
and then there's Toby. Tell your kids it's okay not to comply. This is what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. She just explained to you that Tamir had no chance to comply or not to comply. He was killed with under 2 seconds. You're not listening. This is a perfect example. Perfect example. He just refuses to listen. What about criminal stats surrounding race and how culture plays into personal bias? Why is that blown over as a topic? Well, it's not, Steve. I talked about it during the Stop and Fritz, for example, where it was clear that the police were targeting people of color and ignoring their white counterparts who were 50 times more likely to be carrying the substances that they were looking for. Mm-hmm. Or you can look at what happened where Ahmed Arbery was shot, and as he was bleeding out, the white folks who shot him said, fucking nigger. And the DA saw the video and refused to prosecute those two people. So that might affect crime statistics. What do you think?
And that place in Florida or whatever, where they were using mugshots of all black people when they were doing the target practice.
Yeah, that was North Miami Beach. Yeah. Right. Yeah, but so Toby's there as a demonstration of, okay, this is a person who obviously doesn't want to have a conversation and come to a conclusion, right? And I think people like that are important. I'm not going to kick them out of our community, whatever. You can, come and welcome. Hopefully over time, we can influence each other for the positive. Keyword is matter. If they truly matter, the things I mentioned wouldn't be happening. You're wrong, Tony. You're wrong, because we all believe that white lives matter, but white crime still happens. The fact that crime happens in people's neighborhoods, which is all black on black crime is, the fact that that happens doesn't negate the fact that we have a serious problem with police. You can't say, oh yeah, I understand all those other things. No. If you have a group of people who are allowed to execute people without trial, then you have a serious problem. And those people absolutely should say something. When you look at white on white crime and black on black crime, Tony, they're pretty much equivalent. So that's not the issue. The issue is you have a group of people here who have a license to kill and they're not being held accountable for it. Mm-hmm. And you would feel a lot different if the people who had a license to kill were going after your folks. So the point is we got to have discussions with each other. We got to talk to each other. But there's some things that we can relegate to opinion, like I think Trump is better than Biden or vice versa. That's an opinion. And there are other things like facts, like how many people die of COVID, how the virus gets spread, how the virus gets mitigated. Those are not opinions. Those are facts. They're either right or wrong. And when we're communicating them, we need to make sure that we're accurate with what we're saying.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Because now look, I'm not even. Okay, so there's old Toby. Toby, go ahead and Google Tamir Rice. Google the Tamir Rice video, and you'll have the answer to your question. Okay? Unbelievable. Good question. Why is it that our white brothers and sisters get a 20% less sentence rate for similarly situated crimes than black individuals? That's a good point. And I've brought that up a million times. And you can look at all the comments on my Tom MacDonald videos or all the comments on the other videos. They never touch it. They never touch it.
Doesn't go with the
I know, man, but that was one kid. It was just one kid. It's just one kid. All right, Toby. All right. Leave it. It's just, and the other thing is, this is a kid. He's young. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's young. He doesn't know yet. So
how do you know he's young?
Because he told me. He's not really an old man. Old Toby is like a slang for something. So he's, you got to give him time. Give him some time. Okay. So shout out to Tom MacDonald.
What are you giving the song?
See, with him, I don't want to hurt him on the score because I've heard the song before from him a million times. So I'm trying to like look at it like, okay, what if this was the first time you heard it? So if this was the first time I heard it and I didn't know Tom MacDonald, then you have to say the song is at least a 9.8, right? In my opinion. It's cultural commentary. He's saying something of substance. Even though I don't agree with a lot of what he's saying, it was cultural commentary and he is plugged in. And if you took somebody from 30 years into the future and said, tell us about the Seats and Laban in the Western world, 30 years ago, I think if he took this song, he'd get a good sort of primer. This is what it looks like in 2021.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it was, like I said, I liked the song. It was repetitive sounding, and I do think that he needs to grow in his lyrical content because it's really just like the same thing every single song, it feels like. So I'm gonna go with a 7.8. Plus, I am not, like, if you're deluded and that's why you're putting out a certain message but if you know what you're doing, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And look, I've got a black reactor. He's not a reactor. He's a black personality or whatever. And, we talk about this. Because if you're a black YouTuber, we talk about this. The vast majority of our constituents here are white men in this country. And so we know, like, we know how to get 70,000 views on this video. We just say it's awesome, it's great, blah, blah, blah. Then you put black guy listens to the interracial couple listens to Tom MacDonald, blah. Like, and we're all presented with that temptation. And, my friend, Lucas, shout out to him.
I'm not presented with that temptation at all.
I'm talking about black reactors.
Oh. Okay.
The minute he started speaking for his people, his supposed loyal fan base of 4 or 5 years, I mean, he built that channel for a long time. all his supposed loyalty, they turned on him with the quickness. And it happened with the George Floyd situation.
It was the George Floyd.
Yeah. He finally turned around. He's like, yo, this shit ain't right. And then they started dropping like flies. And he was set up to be, I mean, he was rubbing elbows with Candace Owens and all that. Yeah. He was next. But he started standing up for his people and his viewership, everything. Like, I mean, you're talking about losing hundreds of thousands of people. So I don't have any problems with black reactors who are like, yay, Tom MacDonald, blah, blah, blah. And who knows? Maybe they like it. But maybe they like it. I don't know. Maybe they like, but I don't know. But like as a black reactor, you're absolutely pressured to, to do all that. And if you're doing this for certain reasons, I mean, shout out to Lucas, shout out to the homie. You just have to understand that, and those are the risks that you take. I mean, thankfully, our business model is not really based on subscriptions.
Yeah, but we've been saying the same message from the beginning, regardless of how that was going to affect our numbers. Yeah. If we wanted to have good numbers, we would have stopped talking about politics and religion a long ass time ago. Yeah. And we didn't, because we're not creating a channel for you in the sense of we're going to tell you what you want to hear. We're going to say what we believe to be the truth, but we believe that is for you. Yeah. Yeah. And so, you have to make those decisions. You have to make those decisions, whether you're going to be true to it or not. And like I said, look at the comment section. Look, you could say whatever you want about us, but you can't say that our critiques are not thoughtful. They're thoughtful critiques. Deal with it. Yep. And if you don't deal with them, we'll know why. Yep. But yeah. Hey, Christina Earlymorn. It's just all about everyone against everyone. We don't see the human factor anymore. It's just Christian, Muslim, gay, trans, hetero, all this trivial. Yeah. It's true. It's true. We've like definitely dehumanized. Christina. Yeah, that's one of my Christina's one of my guitar teachers, actually. Yep. Sending love your way. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I believe we're gonna figure this shit out. I really, 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 really do. I really believe we're gonna figure it out, and I think we're gonna find ways to get along and love each other. But guys, we cannot have unity at the expense of truth. I understand a lot of you would be like, why do we have to talk about this stuff, blah blah blah. But we can't have true unity unless we have the truth. And the truth is that when listening to a song and some random shot at trans people, like, to me, like, dissing trans people is like, it's just weak, because they're like the only people left that you can for some reason still talk shit about. I know. And the thing is, like, you've said it 4 or 5 times already. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You said it 4 or 5 times, we get it. Okay. Like, you slap the baby. Like, why are you going to do that? Like, they've already been obviously had to go through the ringer with their family, with their community, probably with their church, with their, you know what I mean? Like, people go through so much shit, and then you're gonna, I totally agree. I feel like, are you serious? Like, there's all these horrible people in the world to criticize, but you're gonna go after, like, the group that everybody still, I just think that's weak too. I don't understand that. I just don't understand why he has to do it on every other song. Like, the BLM thing, fine, but like, well, like you said, and a lot of that probably has to do with our own personal, because we've got people in our community that are close to us. We love them. We've heard their stories. Yeah. So obviously, I'm going to be more sensitive to that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That if I didn't have trans friends, maybe I would just be like, Because if you don't have people that you love that are in that community, you have no idea the shit that they've gone through. Like, I haven't had the funnest time in this country, but holy shit. Like, my family, you know how our family was. Like, our family, like, it was like, we were 10 toes, we were gonna live and die with each other. Yeah. I wouldn't have survived if I got rejected by my family. I wouldn't have survived. And so how these people are doing it in the age of the internet, if you're trans, you're still alive, holy shit, congratulations. I'm not even bullshitting. Yeah, because I think about the effect that, I think that there's lots of people that could say, this family member didn't love me as much as I desperately needed them to. But, like, they didn't love me enough or as much as I needed is totally different than saying they completely rejected me. Right. They disowned me. Right.
And that's what's happening to these people.
Right. That's just some next level. And I don't understand parents doing such a thing. Like, I don't friggin' understand that.
Yeah, and obviously as a Christian, I believe that only the gospel can unify us. I just did that for Jambi because Jambi's in here. Look, man, much love to Tom MacDonald. Much love to everybody. I think we're gonna figure it out. I think we're gonna figure it out together as a human family. I can't wait for the comment section. Yeah, I gotta say, like, some people are not really cut out for doing this kind of work, and then there are other people that have this morbid enjoyment.
Yeah, you see that smile on his face? He can't wait for the comment section.
I do, because I'm not able to scratch that itch anymore, man.
Babe!
You know what I'm saying? It's a very, very difficult transition. Unity is code for communism. Save yourself. Save yourself. Okay. Shout out to Tony the Lone Rider Smith. Shout out to Goth Mama. Shout out to Tina Benina. Shout out to Tina Benina. Christina, my guitar teacher. By the way, she's got a deal. I forgot the name of the
Bricktown.
I forgot the name of the guitar company she's got a deal with, but
oh really?
She's a certified band. I think it's Orange. She's got orange amps and then something guitar. Nice. Christina, you gotta send me a guitar. Okay. Shout out to Phoebe. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to all you. Priest, love you, buddy. Bricktown in the house. Yeah, much love to everybody. Shout out to Tom MacDonald and all his fans, all the hogs. Look, here's what I will say about Tom MacDonald. We probably should have put this at the beginning of the video. What I will say about Tom MacDonald is this hog thing. It's a hangover gang.
Okay.
He had substance abuse issues, and he overcame them. And then him and his girl started up this thing called Hangover Gang or whatever. It's about people getting clean and stuff. We recently, good. If you're familiar with the channel,
that's really good.
We've just come back. Actually, that was the last. One of the you guys know, or some of you, we do downtown ministry. We did downtown ministry, and there was a guy that he was 2 minutes from ODing, and one of our folks found him in the bathroom in time, and so we set him up to a rehab place. He actually detoxed at Sori's house. We prayed hard for him, and his detox was pretty. It was pretty, it was almost miraculous. I mean, this guy was a heavy hitter, and all he had,
absolutely miraculous.
What he had, like a one chill or something like that. I mean, he did really great. Anyway, he completed the program, did very well. Actually, he started mentoring in the program.
I didn't realize how dangerous it was for people to detox.
Yeah,
like you shouldn't detox at your friend's house. You should go get professional help.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, he completes the program, becomes a counselor, and then 4 or 5 days ago, in the middle of a review, I get this text from somebody that says that he OD'd and he died. And I bring that up to say that I do think that some of the things that Tom MacDonald says is harmful. Mm-hmm. And some of the culture that he perpetuates, I think, is extremely harmful. But I don't believe he's being harmful on purpose. And on top of that, there are other things that he has done that are God's work. So if he inspires one person to get off of that shit and live, I don't give a fuck if he comes up comes on stage with a hood and a fucking burning. I don't care. I really don't care. As long as people are finding some way to get free of that shit, I appreciate it. So whatever Tom does, he's got a permanent golden ticket from me for that. Because
I'm glad they started that program. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's an actual program. I just know that there's a lot of people that are like Hangover Gang that deeply love him because of that and relate. You know, he had a persona before this whole right wing thing happened, and he's got a lot of loyal people that relate to his story. And I think he's done a lot of good in the world with that. So, obviously, honestly, there's always room for improvement. And I think people would say that about us, even looking at our ministry. They'd probably say, okay, well, they're doing a lot of good here, but, they suck over here. So, I'll give it to Tom MacDonald for that. Much respect to the homie for that. Mm-hmm. So, there you go. That is all we have for now. Having said that, love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys. And yes, Sean, I will marry you and your girlfriend. If and when you guys decide to get married, we will marry her. Okay? You guys. And I am not an ordained anything. Come on, man. Can you imagine?
But you can.
Can you imagine me being an ordained minister?
Very quickly.
Can you imagine?
We know somebody.
Actually, I know a priest. So I'll bring my buddy Priest along, and Priest can marry you. I'll be there. 7 in the house.
All right, you
Rich
guys.
Yonkers in the house.
Much
Mark
love to everybody.
Mark in the house. Aaron in the house. Anthony in the house. Ted in the house. Black Satan in the house. Delaney in the house. Anthony Manzano in the house. Randy, Perk. Yeah, Randy. We will talk for sure. We will talk. I promise. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Tony in the house.